Hey, what's up guys? This is ColbyCheeZe with OnRPG, and today I'm going to be doing some coverage of the Dragon's Nest closed beta. This is a game by Nexon, so if you're familiar with their games such as Vindictus and Maple Story, Combat Arms, games such as that, you'll know that these guys make some really top-notch games that are super fun to play. And so when I heard about Dragon's Nest coming out, I was excited to give it a go myself. The game is kind of an arcade action style MMO game, and when you first look at it, you're going to see it's got the standard UI set up for most MMO games, where you have the little action bars on the bottom, etc. However, the actual gameplay of it is so much different than your standard, hey, I'm going to push number 1, and then it's going to shoot a spell, and then they're going to hit me, and I'm going to push 1, and it's going to shoot a spell. It's a lot different than that. The story so far, from what I could gather and what I was paying attention to, is that there's some girl that is apparently the prophet or the descendant of the ancients, which are an extinct type of people that are really powerful, and you've got to protect her as she is the future of something. And unfortunately, that's not going to be that easy, though, because someone called the Black Knight is after her as well, and so you're on the chase to get her back and keep him from unlocking her power to, you know, destroy everyone, I guess. Of course, there are other things in the world that are going to hold you back, such as assassins' dens and hordes of trolls and orcs and corrupt monks masquerading as dragon cultists. So anyways, let's just jump into the game. Here we've got 4 different classes that you can play as. There's a warrior, cleric, and an archer, and then the class that I chose was the sorceress, which is hella fun. And so all of them have their own little unique abilities and skills. Of course, the warrior is going to be up front in your face type damage, and it looks like the cleric is kind of a up front in your face mage type. So he's like a mage warrior, and then of course you got your archer. You can guess what that's going to be. And then the sorceress that I played feels more like an archer mage, I guess. That'd be the best way to describe the difference between the classes at this time. The style of gameplay that Dragon's Nest brings seems like it would be even fun to play in like an arcade style, like where you just go in there and hack and slash people down, and it's really great because then you add in the MMO aspect of all the customization and being able to socialize with other people and level up and all that stuff, and you get a pretty great recipe. So I think they've done a great job here.
See you again soon.
Hi. Now the dungeons are actually instance-based. You'll pick up quests from town and then head out into little portals, which will have various dungeons associated with them. And then once you're there, you can choose a difficulty level to play the dungeon at, ranging from easy to normal, hard, and then a master level, and finally the abyss level, which is I guess that would be, in like wild terms, that'd be the heroic version of that dungeon, I suppose. And of course your loot and difficulty level is going to go up as the difficulty goes up as well. Hard dungeons are recommended for 2 players, and then master and abyss level are recommended for up to 4 players. At least the dungeons that I've seen. I believe that later on in the game you'll have dungeons that are up to 8 people, and then you'll have PvP arenas which can have around 16. But for now, in the closed beta, I was able to experience just the first 10 levels of gameplay with mostly I just did the normal and hard dungeons, and I think 1 or 2 masters, and then an abyss level dungeon with a party of players later on. Another cool thing about the dungeons is that there are several achievements to work through in each one, such as time completion or getting a giant amount of combos or beating it a certain way. Like if like one of them that was interesting is pacifist was the achievement, and you had to beat the whole dungeon without attacking any enemies, and it's like you just have to get carried by someone else. They have to do the dungeon, you just watch them. That's kind of funny. While you're combating in the dungeons, you'll see that you can do different levels of combos by chaining your abilities together. So you can do some really quick left click attacks, and you can chain into your abilities, which do lots of damage to multiple enemies. What you'll want to do is group them up, and you can pop down some type of AoE and chain up giant combos that way, which will rack up points. And the points get factored in later as you complete each dungeon, and I believe that that's one of the factors that determines the quality of gears you can receive. You'll actually get a grade at the end of the dungeon from, you know, like just like a poor quality up to like A or S if you do really well, and you'll get better loot from that, and I believe like more options or something like that on your chest. At the end of the dungeons, you get a there's a what's behind this curtain type of choice, and if you choose, you know, you just choose a chest, and then you'll get an item from that. And sometimes it'll be what you wanted, sometimes it's not, but that's kind of the randomness factor that they put in there. Each dungeon is going to have a boss fight at the end, which were actually quite enjoyable. I did like seeing the different bosses, and another thing that I found really entertaining in the game was the cinematography that they had. Whenever you're going through and doing the quest, there are different cutscenes that you'll see at the end of the levels, as well as just when the bosses pop up at you. So that's a really nice touch, and I think that they're doing a great job on that, and I can't wait to explore the storyline further as the game does get released. Oh my god, this guy looks tough and evil. Oh, jeez.
What?
This guy looks serious. The guy that tried to beat me up earlier. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, here comes me! Look out! I just threw your skeleton in. That's awesome. I like the little cutscene. Yeah! Let's do so. I'm gonna peace out now. So with the combat in the game, you've got normal attacks on your left mouse button, and then you can do kind of a special attack on your right mouse button, which is more, it's based on what your character class is. For instance, mine, with the sorceress, she has several different offhands that she can hold. Like if she holds a book, she'll slap them around with a book. Or I used an orb ability thing the whole time, and it would shoot this little orb around me every time I right clicked. And then you can also get some kind of doll that'll jump up and slap people around. And then warriors can like run up and kick people down, and so it kind of just varies based on your offhand item and the class that you're playing. And then of course your abilities are all going to vary greatly as well, but those are actually a lot of fun. So with mine, I have my regular spell ability, so I can shoot out like flame and poison spells that are AoE, and certain spells will leave less status effects, or they will do more damage if the enemy is knocked down. And then I have some other abilities that can do things like knock the enemies down. So if I run up to enemies and then jump up in the air, I can right click and it'll slam my staff down and knock anyone away or knock them on the ground. And then I can combo up with like a poison spray or some type of flame spit spell, and that will do a lot of cool things there as well. Cool thing is that the abilities are actually not targeted. You have to run around and aim everything on your own, so it's more skill based rather than the old style of MMO where you target an enemy and then you're in combat with them, and then you push a button and wait for the cooldown and push a button and wait for the cooldown. This one is more running around. You can dodge. You can double tap in a direction, and your character will dodge in that direction, and you can avoid spells that way. So there's a whole lot of skill-based gameplay involved in there, and it just makes for a really fun experience when you're in combat, rather than the boring, you know, hey, I'm gonna eat a sandwich and button mash my one key while this monster dies. You know, so you don't have to worry about all that stuff. Of course, there's going to be a lot of extra depth in the game as well. I wasn't able to explore too greatly, like I said. I mean, it is an MMO, and most MMO games, you do have to get into them for quite a while before you can get the full grasp of all of the different aspects. However, I will give you a quick rundown of what I was able to understand just within my brief amount of time. Of course, there's going to be crafting of different items where you can actually break down rare quality items into pieces that can be crafted at NPCs, and then you'll also be able to put enhancements onto different items as well. And there will be other tweaks to your characters, such as these crests and seals that are crafted from you'll get drops from dungeons, and then you can combine different little lusters and pieces of items that you find with them at NPCs, and to create these special crests. And you can put those. Your character has this like crest page that you can place these on, and that will allow you to level up certain aspects. Like you can like I added one that gave me an intellect bonus, which gives me more magic, and that adds magic damage to all my abilities. So obviously I don't have any footage of that because I missed it, but there's probably like 15 or 20 different slots that you get as you start leveling up, and it unlocks those slots. So that's going to be pretty cool. And there's different types of slots, so I'm sure that's going to be a pretty big deal into customization on your character. You can also do certain achievements within dungeons or quests that give you titles, and those titles can be worn to increase your stats. So for instance, I did an achievement that gave me the Immortal tile, and that was able to increase my vitality and my strength a little bit, which not really a sorceress title, but hey, it was kind of cool to have that, and you can kind of swap out these different titles for those things and whatnot. I thought the game had a fair amount of humor. If you actually read through and talk to the NPCs, you get a pretty good laugh out of the text that they put in there. So I think that the designers did a really good job of making the game really enjoyable and humorous, as well as the combat is super fun to play around with. Overall, my final thoughts, I think the game is shaping up really well. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun to play, and I think that you should definitely check it out. I mean, it is going to be a free-to-play game, so you have nothing to lose out on. I enjoyed the PvE greatly, and playing through a hard dungeon with friends was quite enjoyable also. I couldn't wait to try out my new abilities and see how they comboed with each other. There's also going to be a big emphasis on PvP arenas as well, and so I can only imagine how much fun that's going to be with the skill-based gameplay. The game really ran smooth, and I never noticed any latency issues at all, which is a huge plus, especially whenever you're looking at PvP that is centered around skill-based actions. I'll be sure to do a much more in-depth coverage of the game as it does come into open beta, but for now, if you want to learn more about the game, be sure to check out OnRPG.com, or if you'd like to discuss it, head on over to our boards at OnRPG.com/boards. Subscribe to the channel as we'll be doing a lot more coverage in the future. My name's ColbyCheeZe. Peace out.